Your brain is a brutal, efficient machine that decides if someone is trash or treasure in exactly 7 milliseconds. Before you have even opened your mouth to say hello, before you've smiled, before you've even fully stepped into the room, the judgment has already been passed. It is instantaneous, it is subconscious, and it is usually permanent. Most people spend their entire lives wondering why they feel invisible, why they get talked over in meetings, or why they can never seem to bridge the gap from acquaintance to deep connection. They think it's because they aren't good-looking enough or rich enough or funny enough. But the science tells us something completely different. You aren't being rejected because of who you are. You are being filtered out because of the invisible biological signals you are broadcasting. Let's paint a picture that I know you have seen 1,000 times. Imagine a party or a networking event. Two people walk into the room at the exact same time. On the left, we have the tryhard. He is well-dressed, maybe even wearing a more expensive suit than anyone else. He is smiling, he is energetic, and he is ready to mingle. But the second he walks in, the room instinctively tightens. You can feel the neediness radiating off him like heat waves. He enters a conversation and talks just a little too fast. He laughs a little too loud at jokes that aren't funny. His eyes are darting around the room, scanning for someone more important to talk to, even while he's looking right at you. He is broadcasting scarcity. He is an energy drain. And without knowing why, every single person in that room feels a microscopic urge to back away. Now look at the person on the right. The magnet. They might be wearing a t-shirt and jeans. They aren't the loudest person in the room. They aren't performing. They walk in with a terrifyingly calm stillness. When they look at you, they aren't scanning the room. They are seeing you. They don't rush to fill the silence. They don't apologize for taking up space. And purely by existing, the energy of the room shifts toward them like water flowing downhill. They are broadcasting abundance. They are an energy source. The difference between these two people isn't genetics. It isn't luck. And it certainly isn't that one was born with a magical it factor that you were denied. The difference is that one of them is running a psychological algorithm that triggers attraction, while the other is running a script that triggers repulsion. We need to shatter the biggest myth that is holding you back right now. The myth that charisma is a gift. Society, Hollywood, and pop culture have lied to you. They've conditioned you to believe that magnetism is something you either have or you don't. This is not just wrong, it is biologically inaccurate. Charisma is not magic. It is a science. It is a set of specific, learnable psychological triggers that hack the human brain's desire for connection. The people you think are naturals are simply individuals who, consciously or unconsciously, have mastered the source code of human influence. They understand that the human brain is wired for survival, and socially, survival means connecting with people who offer value and avoiding people who deplete resources. Here is the cold, hard neuroscience behind why you feel invisible. When you walk into an interaction with a scarcity mindset, thinking about what you can get, or worrying about what people think of you, your body betrays you. Your mirror neurons pick up on your own anxiety and broadcast it outward. Your amygdala, the threat detection center of your brain, goes into overdrive, creating microexpressions of fear and insecurity. When other people interact with you, their mirror neurons pick up on your state. Their amygdala registers your neediness as a threat, not a physical threat, but a threat to their social energy. They don't consciously think, I don't like this person. Their brain simply tags you as low value or unsafe, and they disengage. But here is the good news. Since this is a biological algorithm, it can be rewritten. You can hack the system. By the end of this hour, you are not just going to learn a few cool party tricks or some pickup lines. You are going to get the source code to human connection. We are going to deconstruct the exact psychological mechanisms that turn a stranger into an ally, an enemy into a friend, and a room full of indifferent people into an audience hanging on your every word. We are going to take the nebulous concept of vibes and turn it into a step-by-step blueprint. We are going to cover the 7-second window where your social fate is sealed and how to win it every single time. We are going to look at the invisible influence system that makes people want to please you without you ever asking. We will dive into the conversation control system that makes you unforgettable, not by being the smartest person in the room, but by making everyone else feel like they are the most important. We will explore the body language signals that scream high status before you speak a single word. This is about moving from an energy drain to an energy source. It is about shifting from seeking validation to providing value. You have spent enough time watching others effortlessly command respect and attention. You have spent enough time feeling like an NPC in your own life while others play the main character. That ends right now. What we are about to discuss is the difference between force and power. Force is trying to make people like you. Power is creating an environment where they can't help but be drawn to you. Charisma is simply the result of specific behaviors that signal high value, high safety, and high emotional intelligence. If you are ready to stop being invisible and start being inevitable, you need to pay close attention. We are going to strip away the fluff, the just be yourself advice that never works, and the fake manipulation tactics that make you look creepy. We are replacing them with behavioral psychology, neuroscience, and high-level social strategy. This is the People Magnet Blueprint. Welcome to the other side of the room. Let's begin. There is a smell. You cannot detect it with your nose, but your brain picks it up instantly. It is the distinct, repulsive scent of neediness. When you walk into a room, before you even open your mouth to speak, you are broadcasting a signal. Most people spend their entire lives oblivious to this signal, wondering why they feel invisible, why people seem to drift away from them in conversations, or why they never seem to command the respect they feel they deserve. You might think you are just being nice. You might think you are being polite. But the science says something very different is happening beneath the surface. To the primitive human brain, your niceness often looks like weakness. Your desire to please looks like a threat to social resources. And your attempt to be liked is actually triggering a biological repulsion in the people you are trying to impress. This is what we call the scarcity trap, and if you are currently stuck in it, you are likely operating as what psychologists call an energy vampire without even realizing it. Let's look at the neuroscience of why this happens. Your brain makes decisions about other people in milliseconds. This happens long before your conscious thoughts even kick in. Within the first 7 seconds of meeting you, another person's subconscious mind has already categorized you. They have labeled you as attractive or repulsive, trustworthy or suspicious, valuable or insignificant. This isn't just an opinion. This is a survival mechanism wired into our biology. We have these things called mirror neurons. Think of them like emotional Wi-Fi. When you approach a social interaction feeling anxious, worried about what to say next, or desperate to make a good impression, you are vibrating with insecurity. The other person's mirror neurons pick up on that frequency instantly. Their amygdala, the threat detection center of their brain, registers your anxiety not as, oh, he's just nervous, but as something is wrong here. You become a low-level threat to their energy. You become a drain, and their social brain instinctively creates distance to protect them. This brings us to the most uncomfortable truth you need to hear today. Most people are energy drains. They walk into interactions thinking about themselves. They think about what they can get. They want approval. They want validation. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. This is a scarcity mindset. It is the behavior of a beggar. Even if you are dressed in a tailored suit and speaking with perfect grammar, if your internal state is begging for a reaction, you are operating from scarcity. And human beings are hardwired to repel scarcity. We run from it. On the flip side, we have energy sources. These are the magnetic people. They operate from abundance. They walk into a room and they do not need anything from you. They are there to give value, not to extract it. When you need nothing, you suddenly become the most attractive person in the room. But when you need them to like you, you trigger the ick. You need to diagnose yourself right now. There are 3 specific behaviors, 3 fatal errors, that signal you are trapped in the scarcity trap. These are the behaviors that make you smell of neediness. The first is the fear of the void. This is your inability to handle silence. We have all been there. A pause happens in the conversation. It lasts for maybe 2 seconds, but to you, it feels like an eternity. Your heart rate spikes. You feel the panic rising. So what do? You throw words into the void. You start babbling about the weather, or your job, or just making noise to cover the discomfort. You think you are saving the conversation, but actually you are broadcasting anxiety. You are signaling that you are not comfortable with yourself. A magnetic person is perfectly comfortable in silence because they don't feel the need to perform. They let the silence sit there, creating tension, creating anticipation. If you rush to fill every gap, you are telling the world that your presence alone is not enough. The second fatal error is the digital pacifier. Watch people at a party or a networking event. The moment they feel awkward, the moment they feel alone, what do? The hand goes into the pocket. The glowing rectangle comes out. They start scrolling. They pretend to be busy. They pretend to be important. But we all know the truth. You are hiding. You are using your phone as a safety blanket because you cannot handle the raw vulnerability of just existing in a social space without a distraction. This signals high insecurity. It tells everyone in the room that you are closed off, that you are anxious, and that you are not worth approaching. A magnetic person is present. They stand there, head up, observing the room, comfortable in their own skin. They don't need a shield. By checking your phone to look busy, you are actually making yourself invisible. The third error is the validation loop. This is the most subtle and the most destructive. This is when you speak not to share truth, but to get a reaction. You tell a joke and immediately look around to see if people are laughing. You share a story about your accomplishment and pause, waiting for the wow. You agree with everything the other person says because you are terrified of conflict. You think you are being agreeable. You think this makes you likable. But to the other person, it feels heavy, feels like work. They have to constantly feed your ego. They have to manage your emotions. You are taxing their brain. You are asking them to carry the weight of your self-esteem. Language detection * English. Cleaned and formatted text *. That is why they feel tired after talking to you. That is why they check their watch. You are draining them. We have to talk about the nice guy paradox. This is where so many people get it wrong. You have been programmed by society, by movies, by your parents, to believe that if you are just nice enough, people will like you. If you are accommodating enough, people will respect you. But the primitive brain does not interpret niceness as value. It interprets excessive niceness as submission. If you are constantly apologizing, constantly agreeing, constantly trying to smooth things over, you are signaling that you are lower status. You are signaling that you have fewer resources. In the wild, the submissive animal is the one that gets eaten or ignored. This doesn't mean you should be a jerk. Real magnetism requires kindness. But there is a massive difference between kindness and niceness. Kindness comes from a place of power. It is a choice you make because you have abundance to give. Niceness comes from a place of fear. It is a tax you pay because you are afraid of being rejected. This is the shift you have to make. You have to move from internal focus to external focus. Right now, when you are in a social situation, where is your attention? Be honest. It is on you. It is in your head. You are running a mental script. Do I look okay? Did that sound stupid? What should I say next? Do they like me? This internal preoccupation is social suicide. It creates a wall between you and the other person. You are not actually present with them. You are present with your own anxiety. Magnetic people have rewired their brains. They are not thinking about themselves. They are fascinated by the other person. They are Sherlock Holmes, investigating the human in front of them. When you shift your focus outward, your anxiety disappears because you can't be curious and anxious at the same time. You need to understand the biology of what happens when you try to impress people. You think that by talking about your achievements, your car, your money, or your connections, you are building attraction. You are doing the opposite. When you try to impress, you are signaling that you need their validation to feel good about yourself. You are putting them on a pedestal and putting yourself below them. You are saying, "Look at me, please confirm that I matter." High-value people do not need to prove they are high value. They know it. And because they know it, they don't talk about it. They talk about ideas. They talk about the other person. They talk about shared experiences. The moment you try to prove you are the man, you prove you are not. Think about the concept of energy. Every interaction is an exchange. You are either a source or a sink. A sink takes, It needs reassurance. It needs entertainment. It needs attention. A source gives. It gives presence. It gives listening. It gives good vibes. It gives safety. The reason you feel like people repel you is because you are unconsciously asking them to fill a hole in your soul. You are walking up to strangers with an empty cup and asking them to pour into it. That is terrifying to people. They have their own problems. They have their own empty cups. They are looking for a source too. When two empty cups meet, you get awkward silence and discomfort. But when you become a source, when you fill your own cup first and let it overflow, people flock to you. They can't help it. It is heliotropic. Living things turn toward the sun. Be the sun, not the black hole. This creates a massive problem for the modern nice person. You believe your good intentions should be enough. You think because you mean well, you should be magnetic. But intentions don't trigger attraction. Signals do. And right now, your signals are mixed at best and desperate at worst. You are checking your phone to look busy, but you look scared. You are filling the silence to be helpful, but you sound anxious. You are agreeing to be polite, but you seem spineless. These are the scarcity traps. And until you realize that your polite behaviors are actually selfish attempts to protect your own ego, you will never unlock real influence. You have to be willing to be disliked in order to be respected. You have to be willing to sit in the silence. You have to be willing to put the phone away and stand exposed. You have to be willing to disagree. This is what we call the polarity of abundance. When you operate from abundance, you are no longer attached to the outcome of the interaction. This is the superpower. You talk to someone and you genuinely do not care if they like you or not. You hope they do, but you will be fine if they don't. This detachment is intoxicating. It drives people crazy in the best way possible. They can sense that they have no power over you. They can't manipulate you with their approval because you don't need it. This makes them want to win your approval. The dynamic flips. Instead of you chasing them, they start chasing you. It is not a mind game. It is simply the physics of social value. Resources flow to those who have them. If you have emotional resources, if you have certainty, if you have validation, people will come to you to get some. So here is the diagnostic. Ask yourself these questions. When you walk into a room, do you feel like you are hunting for approval? When a conversation stalls, do you panic? Do you constantly check your phone when you are alone in public? Do you replay conversations in your head wondering if you sounded smart? If you answered yes to any of these, you are an energy vampire. You are stuck in the scarcity trap. You are letting your primitive brain run your social life, and it is ruining your potential. But the good news is that this is not a life sentence. This is simply a software error. You have been running the wrong operating system. You have been running survival mode 1.0 in a modern social world. We need to upgrade you. We need to rewire the way you view silence, eye contact, and validation. The transformation starts with stopping the bleed. You have to stop doing the things that make you smell desperate. Next time there is a silence, let it hang. Look them in the eye and just breathe. Watch what happens. They will start talking. They will start chasing the conversation. Next time you feel awkward at a party, leave your phone in your pocket. Stand there. Feel the burn of the anxiety. Realize it won't kill you. Survive it. You will come out the other side with a quiet confidence that screams high status. Next time you want to tell a story to impress someone, stop. Ask them a question instead. Make them feel impressive. Be the mirror that shows them their best self. This is the path out of the trap. It is not about learning a bunch of pickup lines or manipulation tactics. It is about fundamentally changing your relationship with yourself and with the social world. It is about moving from a consumer of social energy to a producer of it. Once you make that switch, once you become the source, the script flips. You stop worrying about what to say, and you start wondering why everyone suddenly wants to hear what you have to say. You stop worrying about being invisible, and you start wondering how to handle all the attention. The science is clear. The mirror neurons don't lie. The amygdala doesn't lie. You cannot fake this. You have to become it. And it starts by recognizing that your niceness is the very thing holding you back. Stop trying to be interesting I need you to really hear this because it is the single biggest trap smart people fall into when they try to improve their social skills. You walk into a room and your brain immediately starts running a script that says I need to perform, I need to be funny, I need to have the coolest stories, and I need to prove my value. You think charisma is about broadcasting your best qualities to the world, but that is actually the quickest way to trigger someone's internal resistance. This is what we call the dancing monkey syndrome. You are expending massive amounts of energy trying to entertain everyone, but you end up coming across as needy, validation-seeking, and ultimately exhausting. Real magnetism, the kind that makes people obsessed with you, actually works in the complete opposite direction. It is not about how bright you shine on others. It is about how bright you make them feel when they are around you. This brings us to the core internal mindset shift that changes everything, which I like to call the reverse spotlight or the Oprah effect. Think about Oprah Winfrey for a second. She is arguably one of the most charismatic and influential people on the planet, but if you actually analyze her interactions, she spends very little time talking about herself. She doesn't try to be the most interesting person in the room. She masters the art of being the most interested person in the room. She takes the spotlight off herself and shines it intensely on the other person. This is the paradigm shift you need to make right now. You need to delete the program in your head that says look at me and replace it with a new operating system that says I see you. When you shift your focus from internal to external, your anxiety disappears because you are no longer auditing your own performance. You are too busy being a detective of human nature, fascinated by the person in front of you. Let's dig into the actual neuroscience of why this works, because this isn't just fluffy advice, this is biological hacking. When you make someone feel truly seen and understood, you are triggering a massive chemical release in their brain. We are talking about oxytocin, which is often called the bonding hormone or the love drug. It is the same chemical released during physical intimacy and mother-child bonding. But here is the crazy part. When you ask deep questions and actually listen to the answers, you are also triggering their dopamine receptors. The human brain rewards us for talking about ourselves. Feels good. It is literally a neural high. When you become the person who facilitates that high, when you are the source of that dopamine and oxytocin cocktail, their brain begins to associate those addictive, feel-good chemicals with your physical presence. They might not logically understand why they like you so much. They just know that they feel amazing when they are around you. You become a drug they want more of. To pull this off, you have to master a technique called deep listening, or what psychologists call empathic accuracy. Most people do not listen. They are just waiting for their turn to speak. They are physically present, but mentally they are rehearsing their next story or judging what the other person is saying. That is surface-level listening, and people can feel it. It signals that you don't actually care. Deep listening is different. It means listening to the emotions, not just the words. You are listening for the subtext. You are looking for the fears hiding behind their confidence, the excitement hiding behind their casual comments, and the values driving their decisions. You are playing Sherlock Holmes, trying to crack the code of what makes this person tick. When you reflect that back to them, when you say something like, "It sounds like that situation really frustrated you because you value fairness so much," you create what we call a resonance moment. They feel understood on a level that most people never experience. This leads us to the most practical, actionable tool you can use today to force this connection. It is called the 3-second pause. This is a technique used by top negotiators and therapists, and it is incredibly powerful because it goes against our natural instinct to fill the silence. Here is how it works. When someone finishes speaking, especially if they have just shared something meaningful or emotional, you do not respond immediately. The language detected is English. The text is already very well written and formatted for natural speech, with appropriate punctuation for pauses and no discernible typos or abbreviations that need expansion. You wait. You hold eye contact and you count to 3 in your head. 1, 2, 3. Then, and only then, do you respond. This does 3 things simultaneously. First, it proves you were actually listening and processing what they said, rather than just waiting to unload your own opinion. It signals deep respect. Second, and this is the magic trick, the silence creates a vacuum. Human beings are conditioned to be uncomfortable with silence, so often, during that 3-second pause, the other person will start talking again. And what they say in that second wave is usually the real truth. That is where the gold is. That is where the vulnerability comes out. Third, it makes you look incredibly confident. Only someone with high status and total self-assurance is comfortable sitting in silence without rushing to fix it. It subcommunicates that you are grounded, you are secure, and you are in control. So here is your mission for your next interaction. Stop trying to impress. Stop rehearsing your stories. Turn the spotlight outward. Become a heat-seeking missile for the other person's emotions and motivations. Use the 3-second pause to let the conversation breathe. When you stop trying to be the most interesting person in the room, a strange thing happens. You automatically become the most magnetic person in the room, not because of what you said, but because of how you made them feel. You gave them the rarest gift in modern society, which is the feeling of being truly, deeply understood. That is the blueprint. That is the science. Now go out and test it. Welcome to the deep end of the pool, because we are done with the surface level advice you hear everywhere else. We are entering the tactical layer right now, the specific mechanics that separate a nice pleasant chat from FBI level conversation control. This is the meat of the blueprint. This is where you stop hoping people like you and start scientifically triggering the psychological responses that force them to respect you. We are going to break down the physics of your presence, the exact mathematics of eye contact, and the verbal judo that can disarm even the most hostile person in the room. If you have been zoning out, wake up, because these next few minutes are the toolkit you will use for the rest of your life. Let's start with the physical foundation, because before you open your mouth, your body has already had a conversation with everyone in the room. We call this the centered presence. Most people get this wrong in 2 ways. You have the people who shrink. They fight gravity and lose. They collapse their shoulders, they cross their legs tightly, and they minimize their footprint because deep down they are apologizing for existing. That signals prey to the primal brain. Then you have the overcompensators. These are the people trying to look like the alpha, engaging in what looks like aggressive manspreading, puffing their chests out, and taking up space they haven't earned. That signals insecurity disguised as dominance, and people smell it a mile away. The magnetic sweet spot is centered presence. This is about taking up space without being aggressive. It is the physical manifestation of embodied confidence. Imagine there is a string attached to the crown of your head, gently pulling you upward, elongating your spine. While your shoulders drop and your weight settles evenly into your hips, you are not fighting gravity, and you are not surrendering to it. You are working with it. When you enter a room with this kind of grounded confidence, you are signaling safety and stability. You are broadcasting that you are comfortable in your own skin and you own your right to exist in this space. It is not about dominating the room. It is about belonging in it. When you move with purpose, not with that jerky, nervous energy that screams anxiety. You are solid. You are the rock in the turbulent ocean of social anxiety that everyone else is swimming in. And because of that, people will naturally gravitate toward you for stability. Now, let's zoom in on the most powerful laser you have in your arsenal, which is your eyes. Eye contact is the voltage of a conversation. Too little, and you look shady, insecure, or untrustworthy. Too much, and you look like a serial killer. You need to master the eye contact dosage, and the golden ratio here is the 80-20 rule. This is the secret that keeps you from being creepy. When you are listening, you give them nearly 100% of your visual attention. You are drinking in their words, their micro-expressions, their soul. You are making them feel like the only person on earth. And this is the critical switch when you are speaking, that is when you dial it back. If you stare unblinkingly into someone's eyes while you are talking, it triggers their amygdala. It registers as a threat or an interrogation. So, the magnetic move is to break eye contact strategically when you are accessing information or formulating a thought. You look off to the side for a brief second, you look up as you think, and then, bam, you bring it right back to their eyes to deliver the point. This does 2 things. First, it releases the tension so they don't feel hunted. Second, looking away actually makes you look more intelligent and thoughtful. It signals that you are thinking deeply about what you are saying, not just reciting a script. It creates a rhythm of connection and release that is hypnotic. You maintain the connection to show respect, you break it to show thought, and you return to it to drive the point home. That is how you look without being creepy. Once you have the body and the eyes locked in, we move to the verbal mechanics, and this is where we steal straight from the hostage negotiation playbook. The tactic is called emotional labeling. Most people are terrible at listening because they are listening to respond, or they are listening to the logic of the words. The language detected is English. Magnetic people listen to the emotion behind the words. When you are talking to someone, especially if there is tension or they are venting, do not try to fix their problem with logic. Logic is the enemy of emotion. Instead, you are going to label their internal state. Sounds simple, but it is devastatingly effective. You use phrases like, "It sounds like you are really frustrated with how that played out," or, "It seems like you are feeling underappreciated in this situation." Notice the phrasing. You are not saying, "I know how you feel," because you do not. You are saying, "It sounds like," or, "It seems like." This is a low-stakes guess. If you are wrong, they will correct you and you still get credit for trying to understand. But if you are right, and you usually will be if you are paying attention, something magical happens in their brain. You bypass their logical defenses and hit the emotional center. When you accurately label someone's negative emotion, studies show that the activity in their amygdala, the fear center, actually drops. You are physically calming their nervous system with your words. They feel seen. They feel heard. The barrier between you and them dissolves because you are no longer an outsider judging them. You are an ally understanding them. This is how you disarm defensive people. You do not argue with them. You hold up a mirror to their feelings and say, "I see this pain." And the moment they say, "Exactly," you have them. You have created rapport that takes most people months to build, and you did it in 30 seconds. Now we are going to graduate to the master level. If emotional labeling is the jab, this next technique is the knockout punch. It is called the insight offering. This is how you go from being a good conversationalist to being an unforgettable presence in someone's life. Most people just nod along to stories. "Oh, that is crazy. Oh, wow." That is passive. To be magnetic, you need to be active. You need to be analyzing the patterns in their story to give them a gift they did not know they needed. As you listen, you are not just hearing the events. You are looking for the software running the events. You are looking for their values, their motivations, the things they do that they do not even realize they do. Then you offer that insight back to them. It sounds like this, "I am noticing a pattern in what you are saying. It seems like you are really drawn to situations where you have to build things from scratch. Is that something you do intentionally?" Or you might say, "I am struck by how much you value loyalty. It seems like that drives almost every big decision you make." Think about the power of that moment. You are telling them something true about themselves that maybe they have not even articulated yet. You are analyzing their soul and handing them a positive piece of it. This triggers a massive release of oxytocin and dopamine. It makes them feel like you are the only person who truly understands them. It is what we call the Sherlock Holmes effect, but benevolent. You are not reading them to expose them. You are reading them to validate them. When you do this correctly, you stop being a stranger and start being a confidant. This works because most people go through their entire lives feeling invisible. They feel like they are wearing masks, playing roles at work, playing roles at home. When you use the insight offering, you strip away the mask and say, "I see the real you, and the real you is interesting." That is intoxicating. That is addictive. They will want to be around you because you are the mirror that reflects their best self back to them. But you have to earn the right to do this. You cannot just walk up to a stranger and try to psychoanalyze them. That is intrusive. You earn it through the centered presence that makes them feel safe. You earn it through the eye contact that proves you are paying attention. You earn it through emotional labeling that shows you have empathy. Once you have laid that foundation, the insight offering is the cement that locks the connection in place forever. And remember, this entire system, from how you stand to how you speak, operates on the principle of abundance. We talked about this earlier, but it is critical here. The person who needs the conversation to go well is repulsive. The person who is offering value, offering presence, offering insight, that person is magnetic. When you label an emotion or offer an insight, you are giving them a gift. You are not doing it to get them to like you. You are doing it because you are genuinely curious and you have the social abundance to facilitate a deeper connection. The beauty of these tactics is that they are invisible. When you are using them properly, nobody knows you are using a technique. They just know that they feel incredibly calm around you. They know that the conversation flows deeper than it does with anyone else. They know that they feel smarter, more interesting, and more understood when you are in the room. They will not say, "Wow, great use of emotional labeling." They will say, "I just really vibe with you." That is the goal. We are not trying to be impressive. We are trying to be impactful. So, your homework is not to just memorize these terms. It is to embody them. Next time you are in a conversation, check your spine. Are you centered? Check your eyes. Are you giving them the 80% listening focus? When they complain about their boss, do not offer advice. Label their frustration. And when you see a spark of who they really are, call it out. Offer them that insight. Watch how their eyes light up. Watch how their posture changes. Watch how they lean in. That is the science of influence happening in real time. It is not magic. It is mechanics. And now you have the blueprints to build it. We have spent the minutes breaking down the neuroscience of charisma, the psychology of influence, and the subtle body language cues that signal high status. But here is the brutal truth. You can memorize every single psychological trigger we have discussed, you can intellectually understand the concept of abundance mindset, and you can know exactly what mirror neurons are, but if you do not physically wire this into your nervous system, you are just a walking encyclopedia of social theory, not a people magnet. Information without execution is just mental masturbation. Feels good, but it produces nothing. So we are going to pivot right now. We are moving from the classroom to the field. I am going to give you the exact 7-day protocol that will take you from invisible to irresistible. This is the People Magnet Protocol. It is designed to override your brain's default scarcity settings and force you into a state of high-value abundance. Days 1 and 2 are all about breaking your digital pacifier. We call this the presence audit. We talked earlier about how the most magnetic people have mastered the art of presence. But most of you are walking around with a crutch that destroys your social signaling before you even say a word. I am talking about your phone. When you are in a public space, a coffee shop, an elevator, or waiting in line, your brain's ancient survival mechanism screams at you to look busy. You feel that creep of social anxiety, that fear of looking alone, so you reach into your pocket and you scroll. You check notifications that do not exist. You look down. You shrink. In that moment, you have signaled to every person in the room that you are closed off, anxious, and low status. You are engaging in avoidance behavior. For the next 48 hours, you have one rule. When you are in a transitional space, you are not allowed to touch your phone. You are going to force yourself to exist in the discomfort of being present. Walk into the room and keep your head up. Look people in the eye. When you are waiting for your latte, stand there and just breathe. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Observe the room. What you will find is that the anxiety spikes for about 30 seconds, and then it vanishes, replaced by a grounded sense of power. You are signaling to your amygdala that you are safe without a distraction. You are signaling to the room that you are comfortable in your own skin. This is the foundation of the centered presence we discussed in Chapter 4. You cannot connect with anyone if you are disconnected from your immediate reality. Once you have reestablished your physical presence, days 3 and 4 are about mastering the interaction itself. We are going to execute the Ford Technique Remix. You have probably heard of Ford, standing for family, occupation, recreation, dreams. It is a classic sales framework, but in its basic form, it is boring. It is an interrogation. If you ask someone, "What do you do for work?" you are going to get a scripted autopilot answer. That is surface level. That is polite. That is forgettable. We are going to remix this using the dopamine triggers we analyzed in Chapter 6. You are going to ask questions that force the other person's brain to release pleasure chemicals. For 2 days, you are banned from asking, "What do you do?" or "How are you?" Instead, you are digging for passion. You are going to ask, "What is the most exciting thing you are working on right now?" or "What is the best part of your week been so far?" Notice the shift. You are not asking for data, you are asking for emotion. You are asking them to access a positive memory or a future ambition. When they answer, they have to step out of their robotic social script and actually think. As they talk about something they love, their eyes will light up, their energy will lift, and their brain will associate that spike of dopamine with you. You are not just making conversation. You are orchestrating an emotional experience. You are activating that active curiosity escalation we talked about. If they say they are working on a graphic design project, do not just say, cool. Ask, what drew you to that style? Make them feel seen. Now that you are creating dopamine, days 5 through 7 are for cementing trust. We are going to run the strategic vulnerability test. We talked about the pratfall effect and how perfection is actually intimidating and repulsive. People do not trust perfect. They trust human. But most people get this wrong and they emotionally dump their trauma on strangers, which is terrifying. Strategic vulnerability is different. It is a calculated, small admission of humanity that lowers the other person's defenses. For the last 3 days of the week, your goal is to share one small, relatable flaw or struggle in your conversations. It needs to be low stakes but genuine. Maybe you admit that you are terrible at parallel parking, or you confess that you have been procrastinating on a project, or you share that you get nervous before meetings. I was actually really anxious about coming here tonight. That single sentence is a power move. It shows you are so confident in your value that you do not need to hide your humanity. It invites the other person to drop their mask. You will see their shoulders drop. You will hear their voice soften. You have just created a safety bubble where real connection can happen. You are signaling that you are not trying to impress them. You are trying to connect with them. That is the abundance mindset in action. Finally, as you move through this week, you need to apply the overarching strategy that ties this all together. The super connector mindset. This is where you go from being a charming individual to a center of gravity. Most people enter a room thinking, who here can help me? That is scarcity. The language is English. That is taking. I want you to walk into every room thinking, who here needs to know each other? When you meet that graphic designer on day 3, and then on day 5 you meet someone who needs a logo, you make that introduction. You become the bridge. You do not ask for a cut. You do not ask for a favor. You just create value. This triggers the law of reciprocity we discussed in Chapter 7, but on a massive scale. When you become the source of opportunities for other people, you become indispensable. You build that bridging capital we talked about in Chapter 13. You stop chasing influence and you start attracting it. The network effect means that your value is no longer linear. It is exponential. You are not just one person anymore. You are a hub. So here is the summary of your action plan. Day 1 and 2, no phone in transition zones. Force presence. Day 3 and 4, dopamine questions only. Ask about passions, not facts. Day 5, 6, and 7, strategic vulnerability. Share a small flaw to build massive trust. And through it all, look for connections you can build between others. Do not just watch this video and nod your head. Do not click to the next tab. Start this protocol today. The next time you walk out your door, leave the phone in your pocket, look the world in the eye, and watch how it changes the way people respond to you. Magnetism is not magic. It is a choice you make in every single interaction. Go make it. This is the moment where the rubber meets the road. We have spent the last 55 minutes deconstructing the architecture of human connection, taking a sledgehammer to the myths you have been fed about charisma, and rebuilding your social operating system from the ground up. If you have made it this far, you are no longer the same person who clicked on this video an hour ago. You have uploaded a new set of codes into your brain, and now we need to talk about the final, most critical phase of this process. This is the shift from being a background character in your own life, an NPC who reacts to the world, to becoming the main character who shapes the narrative. This is not about arrogance. It is about agency. Up until now, you might have walked into a room hoping nothing bad would happen, hoping people would like you, hoping you would not say anything stupid. That is the mindset of a passenger. From this second forward, you are the driver. You are moving from a defensive posture to an offensive one, not in terms of aggression, but in terms of value creation. Let us recap the arsenal you now possess because it is staggering when you look at it holistically. We started by destroying the lie that magnetism is a genetic lottery ticket. You now know that charisma is simply a sequence of psychological triggers that you can fire at will. You learned that the scarcity mindset, that desperate need for approval, is the single most repulsive signal you can broadcast. You have replaced that with the abundance mindset, the deep cellular understanding that you are a source of value, not a consumer of validation. When you walk into a room now, you are not looking to feed off the energy of the group. You are there to supply it. That shift alone changes the way your pupils dilate, the way you hold your shoulders, and the micro expressions that flash across your face. People can smell neediness, but they can also sense abundance, and abundance is intoxicating. We dove deep into the neuroscience of the first 7 seconds. You now understand that before you even open your mouth, your presence is screaming volumes. You know how to use the centered posture, spine erect, breathing from the diaphragm, to hack your own nervous system and project a calm, dangerous confidence. You know that eye contact is not a staring contest. It is a tool for connection. You have learned to offer your attention as a gift, maintaining contact when listening to show respect, and breaking it strategically when speaking to show dominance and comfort. You are no longer fidgeting, checking your phone, or shrinking into the furniture. You are taking up space because you know you belong in that space. You have mastered the art of the pause, realizing that silence is not an awkward void to be filled with nervous chatter, but a canvas where you let your words land and your presence felt. We unlocked the conversation control system. You are done with boring small talk about the weather and traffic. You now wield the power of emotional labeling. You do not just hear words. You hear the music behind the words. When someone tells you about their stressful week, you do not offer generic advice. You label the emotion. You say, "It sounds like you are carrying the weight of the whole team on your back." You know how to use strategic vulnerability, dropping breadcrumbs of your own humanity to create a safe space for others to open up. You understand that the most interesting person in the room is the one who is most interested in others. You have stopped listening to respond and started listening to understand, and you have seen how that releases oxytocin in the brains of the people you talk to, chemically bonding them to you. You are no longer an interviewer. You are a pattern recognizer, helping people see the best versions of themselves reflected in your eyes. We did not stop there. We dissected the invisible influence system. You learned that true influence is not about twisting arms. It is about aligning with human nature. You know how to use the Benjamin Franklin effect, asking for small favors to create psychological investment. You understand reciprocity, not as a transaction, but as a lifestyle of generosity. You know how to use social proof and authority positioning without being a braggy narcissist. You have learned the difficult people strategy, the emotional aikido that turns enemies into allies. You no longer take rudeness personally because you understand it is usually a symptom of the other person's pain or insecurity. You have the emotional sovereignty to stay calm when others are losing their minds, which automatically makes you the leader in any chaotic situation. You have learned to read the room with advanced social intelligence, spotting the hidden hierarchies and emotional currents that 90% of people are completely blind to. So what does this all mean for you right now? It means you are facing a complete identity transformation. This is chapter 15 in action. You are shedding the skin of the person who hopes to be liked, and you are stepping into the identity of the person who generates value. This is the people magnet blueprint. But I need you to understand something crucial. This is not about manipulation. I want you to burn this into your brain. Magnetism is not manipulation. It is the highest form of generosity. Manipulation is trying to get something from someone for your own benefit at their expense. Magnetism is making someone feel seen, heard, and understood in a world that mostly ignores them. When you give someone your full presence, when you ask them questions that light them up, when you make them feel like the most important person in the room, you are giving them a gift they might not receive from anyone else all month. That is not a trick. That is a service. Think about the NPC to main character shift. An NPC waits for a script. A main character writes it. The biggest trap you will face leaving this video is the comfort zone calcification we talked about. It is easy to watch a video and feel powerful. It is hard to go into a coffee shop, look a stranger in the eye, and practice a cold read or a genuine compliment. But you have to treat the real world like the algorithm. You know how you train your TikTok or YouTube feed by interacting with what you like? The real world works the exact same way. If you interact with the world with fear, hesitation, and judgment, the world will serve you back rejection and awkwardness. But if you interact with the world using warmth, curiosity, and abundance, the social algorithm will serve you opportunities, connections, and experiences that seem like magic to everyone else. You need to adopt the mindset of a social scientist. Every interaction from this moment on is a lab experiment. When you go to the grocery store, test the body language principles. Stand tall, breathe slow, and see how the cashier responds to you differently. When you are at work, test the conversation control system. Use a reframe on a complaining colleague and watch their energy shift in real time. You don't need to get it perfect. You just need to get it going. You have to be willing to be cringe in order to become cool. You have to be willing to fail a few times to master the art of rapport. The masters of social intelligence didn't come out of the womb charming. They simply failed more times than you have even tried. They built their charisma on a mountain of awkward moments that they learned from rather than running from. This is about emotional sovereignty. That is a phrase I want you to carry with you. It means you are the CEO of your own emotional state. Most people outsource their happiness to the people around them. If their boss is nice, they are happy. If their partner is grumpy, they are sad. They are leaves blowing in the wind. You are becoming a tree. Your roots are deep. You bring the weather. You decide the vibe. If you walk into a funeral, you can be respectful, but you don't have to be destroyed. If you walk into a party that is dead, you don't complain. You bring the energy that brings it to life. This is the core of being a main character. You happen to the world does not happen to you. And let's talk about the network effect one last time. You are building a web. Every person you connect with, every bridge you build, adds to your personal infrastructure. You are moving from a linear life to an exponential one. When you become a super connector, someone who introduces people who can help each other, you become the hub of the wheel. You become indispensable. This isn't just about getting ahead in business. It is about building a life that is rich in human connection. We are social animals. We are wired for this. The loneliness epidemic is real, but you now have the cure. The cure is skill. The cure is understanding that you have the power to bridge the gap between you and any other human being on this planet if you just apply the principles we have discussed. I want you to visualize your next 24 hours. Imagine walking into your office or your school or just down the street. Imagine carrying this new toolkit with you. You aren't hoping for a good interaction. You are designing one. You spot someone who looks closed off. Instead of judging them, you get curious. You use a soft opener. You match their energy, then you lead them to a better state. You ask a question that hits a value nerve. You see their eyes light up. You feel that click of rapport. That feeling is addictive. That feeling is power. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, you won't be using techniques. You will just be you, but a version of you that is amplified, unblocked, and fully expressed. This is the integration phase where the science becomes art. Don't let this be just another video you watch to get a dopamine hit of feeling productive. That is the trap. Passive consumption is the enemy of progress. You have the blueprint. You understand the machinery of the human mind. You know that people are desperate to be led, desperate to be understood, and desperate to feel safe. You are now the person who can provide that. You are the person who can turn a hostile negotiation into a partnership. You are the person who can turn a stranger into a best friend in 10 minutes. You are the person who attracts opportunities because you are vibrating at a frequency of value and abundance. I told you at the start that charisma isn't a gift. It is a science. You have the data. You have the theory. Now you need the practice. Go outside and test the algorithm today. Prove me right. Watch how the world bends toward you when you stop needing it and start loving it. Watch how people gravitate toward you when you stop trying to impress them and start trying to understand them. This is the secret. It's not about you. It never was. It's about how you make them feel. And when you master that, you become unforgettable. Now, I know this was a lot of information. We covered 15 chapters of intense psychological strategy in under an hour. It is impossible to retain 100% of this just by listening once. You are going to go out there, you are going to try a hook, and you might forget the follow-up question. You might try to mirror someone's body language and feel awkward. That is normal. That is why I created the People Magnet Cheat Sheet. It is a one-page PDF that condenses the psychological triggers, the conversation hooks, the body language checklist, and the difficult people scripts into a single actionable guide you can keep on your phone. It is the field manual for everything we just talked about. If you are serious about this transformation, if you are actually done being an NPC and you are ready to take the wheel, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Not just for the algorithm, but to make a commitment to yourself that you are a student of this game. Subscribe and then check the link in the description to download the cheat sheet. It is free, it is high value, and it is the tool you need to bridge the gap between knowing this stuff and living it. Do not let this moment pass. Master the science of social engineering. Become the person everyone wants to know. The world is waiting for the real you to show up. Go make it happen.